You ever feel like you're sprinting through life, yet going nowhere? Like the harder you try, the more lost you feel? You wake up with 1,000 thoughts racing through your head, half of them regrets, the other half fears. You scroll, you pause, you pretend you're okay. But something inside you is whispering, this isn't it. That whisper, that's the part of you that hasn't given up yet. That's the part that still believes there's more peace, more purpose, more power within you than you've dared to claim. I know what it's like to lose yourself in the chaos of your own mind. I know what it feels like to be stuck in a prison built by your own thoughts, doubting, overthinking, running in mental circles until the walls feel like they're closing in. But I also know the way out. Not because I read about it, because I lived it. And that's what this journey is. Not a summary, a fire starter, a battle cry for anyone tired of carrying pain like a second skin. For anyone who's done pretending that silence is peace, that distraction is joy, that numbness is strength. This is your story now, your moment. Your mind is the battlefield, and your thoughts are the only weapon that matter. You become what you think, and it's time to think like someone who refuses to stay small. Chapter 1. The War Inside Your Head. You feel like you're drowning in days that never seem to end, like time slipping through your fingers while your dreams stay frozen in the distance. You tell yourself you'll change tomorrow, but tomorrow keeps becoming yesterday. And deep down, you wonder if maybe this is just who you are now. You're not lazy. You're exhausted. You're not unmotivated. You're lost in noise. You wake up with regret from the past and anxiety about the future. Two emotional parasites chewing through the one thing that's real, right now. And that's the lie no one told you. That the present, the moment you keep ignoring, is the only place life actually lives. See, your mind is an expert time traveler. It jumps backward to relive pain and leaps forward to predict disaster. But you don't live there. You live here, in this breath, in this beat, in this second. And if you keep skipping the now, you'll spend your entire life asleep with your eyes wide open. Living in the present doesn't mean forgetting your past. It means no longer letting it chain you. It doesn't mean pretending the future doesn't exist. It means refusing to let fear hijack it. The secret? It's not meditation. It's awareness. It's training your mind to notice your thoughts without becoming them, like watching clouds pass by without chasing every storm. Because here's the truth. You are not your thoughts. You're the one who hears them. And the moment you remember that, everything changes. You've been hit by life. We all have. Rejection, loss, shame. But the real damage doesn't come from the first hit. It comes from the second one. The one you throw at yourself. The overthinking, the self-blame, the punishment. Life hits hard, but you hit harder. And that's where the cycle begins. But what if you stopped fighting yourself? What if you learned to feel without falling apart? What if pain didn't mean weakness, but release? The battle isn't outside you. It never was. The battle is your mind. And the war ends when you decide to stop bleeding for things that already cut you once. Chapter 2. You're not broken. You're becoming. You wake up feeling behind, like life's moving faster than your feet, like everyone else has a plan, and you're just trying to breathe. And so you compare. You scroll. You shrink. You tell yourself, if only I was more like them. Smarter, stronger, further. But comparison is the thief of peace, and it's stealing everything. No one's life is as perfect as it looks in a filtered frame. You don't see the nights they cried themselves to sleep, the doubts they wrestle, the battles they hide behind their curated smiles. So stop measuring your journey with someone else's map. Their road isn't yours. Their pace isn't yours. Their wins don't define your worth. And neither do your failures. Because failure isn't a dead end. It's a detour, a message, a mirror that reflects what you still need to learn. You don't grow from winning. You grow from losing and choosing to rise anyway. Every scar you carry isn't a symbol of weakness. It's proof you fought, proof you lived, proof you tried. Don't fake it till you make it. Feel it till you heal it. Be honest, be raw. Say, I don't know when you don't. Say, I'm scared when you are. Because real confidence isn't loud. It's rooted. It's showing up when you're terrified and choosing to keep going. You're not behind. You're in process. You're in the middle of becoming someone you haven't met yet. And no, it doesn't feel good. Growth rarely does. But discomfort is not danger. It's the sign that you're shedding who you were to step into who you were meant to be. Stop running from yourself. Sit with your soul. Ask hard questions. Journal your truth. And remember, you are not broken. You are becoming. Chapter 3. The Power You Forgot You Had. There's a voice inside you, one that's been quieted for years. It's the voice that once said, I can, before the world taught you you can't. The voice that believed in magic before the mirror made you doubt your worth. That voice? It's still there, but it's buried beneath a pile of noise, expectations, opinions, fears that aren't even yours. And every day you ignore it, you drift further from yourself. You think you need more discipline, more motivation, but what you really need is clarity. Clarity about who you are, what you want, and who you refuse to be anymore, because the real you isn't lazy or lost or hopeless. The real you is buried, waiting, begging to be seen again. It starts with remembering. Your thoughts are not facts. Just because you think something doesn't make it true. That I'm not good enough thought? That's not truth. That's programming. That's a belief someone handed you and you decided to wear like skin. But you can change that right now with one choice, with one thought, because identity isn't fixed, it's forged. It's not discovered, it's designed. Every small act, every little promise you keep to yourself is a vote for the person you want to become. You don't need more time, you need more truth. The kind of truth that says, I don't want to live like this anymore. The kind that rips the excuses apart and says, even if I fail, I'll still move forward. That's the kind of power that builds empires inside broken hearts, and it's yours. But no one's going to hand it to you. You have to decide, to rise, to heal, to become the person who finally believes they're enough. Not someday, not if they earn it, but right now. This is your moment. Don't think your way out of it. Feel it, own it, step into it. Because the life you're dreaming of, it's not waiting on a miracle, it's waiting on you. Chapter 4. The Cage You Keep Calling Home. You say you're tired, but it's not your body that's exhausted. It's your soul. It's the constant war between who you are and who you keep pretending to be. You put on a smile, you nod. You say you're fine, but inside, you're suffocating. You've built a life around surviving, around pleasing, performing, proving, and now you can't breathe under the weight of it. You crave peace, not the kind you post about, the kind that sits inside your chest and says, you're okay, even when everything around you isn't. But here's the truth most people won't tell you, that peace won't come from doing more, or having more, or fixing everything outside of you. Peace begins when you stop lying to yourself. You say yes when you mean no. You stay quiet when you need to scream. You shrink so others don't feel small. And somewhere along the way, you abandoned your own truth. Why? Because fear whispered that if you showed up as you are, it wouldn't be enough. But listen closely. The version of you that's too much, that's the real you. The wild one, the one that remembers. The one who isn't afraid to want more, to feel deeper, to fight harder. You don't need to be less. You need to stop apologizing for being whole. You're not stuck because of your circumstances. You're stuck because of your story. The one you keep telling yourself about why you can't, why it's too late, why you're not ready. That story is not your truth. It's your trap. And you've rehearsed it so many times that it's become your reality. But stories can be rewritten. Right now, you have the pen in your hand. You don't need permission to pivot. You don't need approval to evolve. You just need to stop mistaking comfort for peace. Because the cage you keep calling home, it's still a cage, and you were made to be free. There will be people who don't understand your growth. Let them. There will be days you don't recognize yourself. That's okay. Growth isn't pretty, it's raw. It's bloody. It's birthing a version of you that no longer fits inside the box you outgrew. Stop tiptoeing around your potential. Say the thing, take the leap, burn the old script and write a new one. One where you are no longer the victim of your thoughts, but the author of your future. Because nothing changes until you do. Chapter 5. The pain that becomes power. Pain. It's the part we hide, the part we bury beneath busyness and bravado. We act like we're fine, like we've moved on. But the truth? Most of us are walking around carrying wounds that never got the chance to heal, just scab over. And we think if we just stay busy enough, maybe we'll outrun it. But pain doesn't disappear. It waits, in silence, in sleepless nights, in short tempers and numb hearts. You think you're angry at the world, but really? You're angry at yourself for never pausing long enough to feel what needed to be felt. But here's the twist no one tells you. Pain, when faced, becomes power. You weren't meant to be untouched. You were meant to be transformed. You weren't meant to stay soft and scared. You were meant to walk through fire and come out fierce. Every scar, a story, every ache, a chapter, and every time you chose to get back up, that was rebirth. See, your pain didn't break you. It built you. It taught you how to stand when the ground gave out, how to love when trust was torn, how to breathe when everything inside you screamed stop. You didn't just survive, you transcended. So stop hiding your wounds like shame. Wear them like armor, not because the pain was fair, but because you refuse to let it define you. Someone once told you vulnerability is weakness. They lied. Vulnerability is the doorway to your deepest strength. You want to connect? Start there. You want to heal? Start there. You want to rise? Start there. You keep waiting for the pain to end. But what if it's the very thing leading you home to yourself? Don't numb it. Don't run from it. Feel it. Let it speak. And then let it go. Because your story doesn't end in suffering. It begins in resilience. Chapter 6. Becoming the architect of your identity. You keep waiting to find yourself. But you were never lost. You were just never given permission to create yourself. Let that sink in. You are not a fixed point in space. You're not a personality type or a product of your past. You're not your trauma. You're not your mistakes. You're not the version of you that made decisions out of fear. You are potential, waiting to be claimed. Identity is not something you uncover, it's something you design. But most people never tell you that. They teach you to fit in, blend in, do what's expected. And so you adopt an identity that's not yours. You become the person others want you to be because it feels safer than becoming the person you need to be. But here's the reality. Every action you take is a vote for the person you want to become. You want to be confident? Speak when your voice shakes. You want to be disciplined? Show up when it's inconvenient. You want to be free? Stop negotiating with your limitations. Change isn't magic. It's a decision repeated daily. You say, but I'm not that kind of person. Fine, then become the kind of person who is. Because that's what growth is. It's a conscious rebellion against who you've been told you are. It's asking, what would the best version of me do right now? And doing it, even if it scares the hell out of you. You don't need more knowledge. You need more integrity. Start keeping promises to yourself. That's how self-respect is born. You don't earn confidence by feeling ready. You earn it by doing the thing when you don't. You have a choice every day. Keep playing the role you've outgrown, or start writing the script that finally fits. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you were before the world convinced you to settle. Don't wait for clarity. Don't wait for a sign. Decide. Right here, right now. This is the line in the sand. And from this moment forward, you're not a prisoner of your past. You're the architect of your future. Chapter 7. The shift from hustle to healing. You've been taught to chase, faster, harder, more. You measure your worth in checklists and your value in productivity. You've learned to confuse motion with meaning. You don't rest, you collapse. You don't pause, you burn out. You keep telling yourself that once you accomplish this, once you earn that, once you prove something, then you'll slow down, then you'll breathe, then you'll finally feel okay. But you won't. Because hustle without healing is just running from your truth in disguise. You weren't born to be a machine. You were born to be alive, fully, deeply, unapologetically. But you can't feel life if you're too busy outrunning your emptiness. And here's the part no one tells you. Slowing down is not weakness. It's wisdom. Choosing rest isn't giving up. It's coming back to yourself. You've been conditioned to think self-care is selfish. That stillness is lazy. But what if stillness is sacred? What if healing is the real high performance? What if the most productive thing you can do is listen to your body, to your mind, to that small voice inside you begging for peace? Some of the strongest people I know are the ones who had the courage to stop, to sit with their pain, to question their patterns, to admit, this isn't working anymore. They walked away from what looked good on paper to build something that actually felt good in their soul. Because achievement means nothing when you're hollow inside. And don't get me wrong, ambition is beautiful, but it should never come at the cost of your being. If success costs you your health, your joy, your sense of self, it's not success. It's sacrifice. Real power isn't found in perfection. It's found in presence. And presence doesn't require you to fix everything. It simply invites you to feel everything. Fully. Without filters. Without escape. So stop measuring your life by what you produce. Start measuring it by what you experience. The late nights you laughed until your stomach hurt. The silent mornings where peace wrapped around you like a blanket. The moments you told the truth even when your voice trembled. That's success. Not because the world claps for it, but because your soul does. Chapter 8. Letting go of what weighs you down. You've carried too much for too long. Expectations, guilt, versions of yourself that no longer fit. You hold on to things because they're familiar, not because they're right. You keep toxic friendships because of history. You stay in situations that drain you because of loyalty. You cling to identities that suffocate you because you're scared of starting over. But here's the thing about growth. It doesn't happen in clutter. It happens in space. And space only comes when you're willing to let go. Let go of needing everyone to understand you. Let go of needing to be liked. Let go of the people who only love the parts of you that are convenient. Let go of the fear that says, if I release this, I'll have nothing left. Because what's meant for you will never require you to shrink. You are not meant to carry everything. Some weights are not yours. Some wounds were never yours to hold. Some responsibilities were placed on your shoulders before you ever knew how to say no. But now you do. And now it's time. Time to declutter your soul. Clean out the emotional junk drawers filled with what-ifs and should-haves. Release the opinions of people who aren't even living the life you're trying to create. Walk away from the timelines that say you should have made it by now. You don't owe anyone your suffering. You don't owe your younger self the prison of old dreams. Growth means realizing some of your desires were based on survival, not purpose. So ask yourself, who would I be if I stopped performing for approval? Who would I be if I stopped carrying pain just to feel loyal to the past? Maybe you'd be free. Maybe you'd be you. Because freedom isn't found in running. It's found in releasing. And you don't need a perfect plan to start. You just need to put something down. And then take one step forward with lighter hands and a louder heart. Chapter 9. Turning Fear into Fuel. Fear isn't the enemy, it's a compass. It shows you exactly where the edge is. And the edge, that's where you find out who you really are. The problem is, you've been told fear means stop. But fear often means go. Go deeper. Go bolder. Go through. Because the things you're afraid of, they're usually the doors to your next level. And the real danger isn't in walking through them. It's in standing still while your potential withers. You keep waiting for the fear to leave before you move. But fear doesn't leave. You just get stronger. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in the face of it. Every time you feel fear and still step forward, you take your power back. Think about it. What have you missed because you let fear win? The relationship you didn't pursue, the opportunity you didn't take, the truth you didn't speak. All because fear whispered, "What if you fail?" But let me ask you something louder. What if you fly? Fear wants you to play small. But you weren't born to be small. You were born to expand, to break the limits that were handed to you, to stop negotiating with the noise in your head and start choosing the vision in your heart. You want to know what's on the other side of fear? Freedom. Not the kind that they sell you online, but the kind that lives in your chest when you know, I did the thing anyway. So go after the job, launch the idea, have the conversation, write the page, take the trip, fall in love, change your life, even if your hands shake, even if your voice cracks, even if your legs feel like jelly. Because fear might shout. But you get the final say. Chapter 10. Becoming unshakable from the inside out. You've spent your whole life trying to control what's outside, your schedule, your image, your relationships, your outcomes. But deep down, you know it's not working. You plan, you push, you prepare. But it still feels like you're one bad day away from unraveling. One text, one rejection, one mistake, and the whole thing crumbles. That's not peace. That's performance. And performance is fragile. But real peace, real power, that comes from within. It's not about locking yourself away from pain. It's about building something inside you that can't be shaken by it. So what if the work isn't outside? What if the work is inside? What if you stopped trying to change everything around you and started changing the one thing you've always had control over? Your response. See, most people react. They take the hit and let the emotion drive. Anger, blame, panic. But a response? That's chosen. That's intentional. That's power. Life will never stop testing you. But tests aren't there to destroy you. They're there to reveal you. They show you what still controls you, what still owns space in your mind. They show you the cracks you've covered up with convenience and call it strength. But now you get to choose again. You don't need to be calm because everything is calm. You need to be calm, especially when it's not. That's emotional composure. And it's not about being numb. It's about being anchored. Anchored in self-awareness, anchored in clarity, anchored in a knowing that no matter what comes, you won't betray yourself again. You won't spiral. You won't shrink. You'll stand. This doesn't happen by accident. It happens through practice, through presence, through the quiet discipline of noticing when your old patterns try to hijack you and choosing differently. And every time you do, you grow roots. And when the storm comes next time, you won't be the one blown away. You'll be the one who remains. Chapter 11. The Art of Self-Belief. It's not the world that's stopping you. It's you. It's that voice in your head that says, "You're not ready. You're not qualified. Who do you think you are?" That voice sounds convincing, doesn't it? It knows just where to hit your doubts, your insecurities, your past failures. It doesn't shout, it whispers, just loud enough to keep you stuck. But here's the truth. That voice is a liar. Self-doubt is not self-awareness. It's self-sabotage disguised as logic. You think you need more proof, more credentials, more approval, but you don't. What you need is permission from yourself. Because confidence doesn't come from evidence, it comes from decision. You don't wait until you're confident to act. You act until you realize you didn't need to wait. And no, belief isn't about faking it. It's about choosing it, over and over. It's about trusting the part of you that already knows. The part that dreams louder than fear. The part that's been buried under years of criticism, comparison, and compromise. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to be you, fully, honestly, fiercely. Speak before you feel ready. Show up before you have all the answers. Back yourself when no one else will. Not because you're guaranteed to win, but because you're done abandoning yourself. And look, you won't always feel it. You'll doubt. You'll question. You'll wobble. That's human. But every time you choose to move forward anyway, that's belief in motion. So next time that voice says you can't, whisper back, "Watch me." Chapter 12. When you stop waiting and start living. How much of your life have you spent waiting? Waiting for the right time, waiting for the right feeling, waiting for things to make sense, waiting to feel ready. But here's the brutal truth. Waiting doesn't keep you safe. It keeps you small. You're not stuck because you don't know what to do. You're stuck because you keep postponing your own permission. You've convinced yourself there's some moment in the future where everything will click, where fear will disappear, where you'll finally become the person you were always meant to be. But that moment, it never comes. Because growth isn't a calendar event, it's a choice. You already know what you need to do. Maybe it's having the hard conversation. Maybe it's cutting ties. Maybe it's changing directions, starting over, asking for help, saying yes, saying no. Whatever it is, you know. And it terrifies you. But let me tell you something. The pain of doing it afraid is less than the pain of wondering what if for the rest of your life. You don't need to feel brave to be brave. You don't need to feel certain to act with purpose. You just need to decide that this life you're living on pause, is no longer acceptable. You've got breath in your lungs. You've got fight in your bones. You've got a voice in your chest that's still screaming for more. So stop waiting for the stars to align. You are the constellation. You are the moment. You are the miracle you've been waiting for. And it's time. Time to stop existing in theory. Time to start living in truth. Chapter 13. Redefining success on your terms. What if everything you've been chasing isn't what you really want? Think about that. What if the version of success you're trying to live up to, the one with the status, the salary, the shiny things, isn't your definition, but someone else's? What if you've been climbing a ladder that was leaning against the wrong wall? You're exhausted, not because you're doing too much, but because you're doing too much of what doesn't matter to you. The meetings, the numbers, the fake smiles. You go home at night and feel the ache, the emptiness that whispers, "This isn't it." Because here's what no one tells you. External success without internal alignment is just high-functioning misery. You can look like you've made it and still feel hollow inside, because you're not meant to perform a life. You're meant to live one. And real success? It's peace of mind when you're alone with your thoughts. It's being proud of how you show up, not just when people are watching, but when they're not. It's doing what lights your soul up, not just what pads your resume. It's the freedom to walk away from anything that costs your mental clarity, your self-respect, or your joy. You don't need to earn someone else's applause. You need to earn your own respect. And sometimes that means choosing a smaller spotlight to build a bigger life. One filled with meaning, one filled with depth. One where you're not just checked in, but fully alive. You were never meant to live someone else's dream. You were meant to define your own. So stop measuring your success by the trophies on your shelf. Start measuring it by the peace in your chest. Chapter 14. Breaking the Cycle for Good. You've had enough advice, enough books, enough top 10 habits. You know what to do. That's not the problem. The problem is the pattern. Because knowing doesn't change your life. Doing does. And if you're honest, you're stuck in the same cycle. Decide, delay, distract, disappear. You start strong. You mean it. You feel the fire until the old wiring kicks in. The overthinking, the self-doubt, the need for certainty. So you back off. You tell yourself later. You wait for motivation. Then shame creeps in. And now you're right back where you started, only more disappointed. But the cycle can be broken. And not with more information. With interruptions. You need to disrupt the loop, change the default. You need to stop waiting to feel like it and start training yourself to move anyway. That means action, even when it's messy. It means showing up on the days you want to hide. It means not giving your feelings the final vote. You are not a prisoner of your patterns. You are the programmer. But every time you wait for it to feel easy, you reinforce the old identity. So stop saying, "I'll try." Start saying, "I will." Create rituals that ground you. Set boundaries that protect you. Remove distractions that drain you. And most of all, commit to showing up no matter what. Because consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about refusing to disappear on yourself again. You're not stuck. You're just one decision away from a new direction. Chapter 15. The Power of the Present Moment. The future's not real, not yet. The past is gone, forever. But the present? This is the only thing that's real. And yet it's the one thing we avoid most. We scroll, we binge, we fill every second with noise because silence feels like failure. Stillness feels like falling behind, but stillness, that's where everything starts. The present moment is where life lives. Your breath, your power, your peace. All of it exists right here. But you won't find it if your mind's trapped in what was or what might be. You keep trying to fix your future, but you haven't even shown up for today. You say, "I just need to figure things out." No, you don't. You need to be here. You need to stop dragging yesterday's pain into today's purpose. You need to stop fast-forwarding through the only thing that's real, now. Here's what's wild. Almost everything you're chasing already exists in the present. Joy? It's in the breath you take without rushing. Gratitude? It's in the moment you see what you've been overlooking. Freedom? It's in the decision to stop running. You've been trained to live like life is out there. But life isn't coming later. Life is happening now. And when you learn to return to this moment again and again, you stop reacting. You start responding. You stop surviving. You start living. So take a breath, a real one. Not to escape, but to arrive. This is where the shift begins. Not tomorrow. Now. Chapter 16. You become what you think. Everything you've lived through, every moment of shame, silence, triumph, loss, it's been leading here. Not to a destination, but to a realization. That your life doesn't change when things around you change. It changes when you change how you think. That voice in your head, the one narrating your every move, That's the architect of your entire reality. Not the economy, not your past, not even your circumstances. Your thoughts are the blueprint. And here's the hard truth. You can't think like a victim and live like a victor. You can't think from fear and expect peace. You can't think small and live big. You become what you rehearse in your mind. So what are you practicing? Panic? Doubt? Regret? Or are you practicing courage? Self-trust? Resilience? This isn't about positive vibes only. This is about mental responsibility, about recognizing that if your inner world is chaotic, no amount of outer success will satisfy you. That if your thoughts are poisoned by fear, your decisions will reflect it. And if your identity is still chained to old beliefs, your freedom will always feel out of reach. But the good news? You can choose again. Right now. You can choose thoughts that lift instead of limit. You can choose to tell yourself a better story, not a perfect one, but a true one. One where you are not your mistakes. One where healing is possible. One where pain has purpose. One where you rise. Because when you change the way you think, you change everything. You move from reacting to responding. From blaming to owning. From wishing to becoming. Your mind is your most powerful tool. Train it, guard it, rewrite it. You are not a prisoner of your thoughts. You are their creator. And that means you are never stuck. You are always one thought away from a different life. You've made it here, not just to the end of these words, but to the edge of your old life. You've seen your patterns. You've met your fears. You've remembered your strength. You've walked through the fire, and now you stand in the ash of who you used to be. But endings are not finales. They are foundations. And now it's time to build. Not with perfection, but with presence. Not with pressure, but with purpose. What happens next isn't about reading more. It's about becoming more, about choosing who you want to be every day, with every breath, in every moment that gives you the chance to decide. Will you default to fear, or will you lead with faith? Will you repeat the pattern, or rise into your potential? You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to say, I'm done living beneath myself. That's where everything changes. That's when you stop waiting to feel worthy and start acting like you already are. Because you are. You're not broken. You're becoming. You're not lost. You're returning. And the thoughts you choose from this point forward, they will shape everything. So think boldly. Think lovingly. Think like someone who refuses to shrink again. And then live it every single day. Because the truth is simple. You become what you think.